Okay, hi everyone. Thank you very much for joining us tonight. My name is Nikki. I work in the Prospective Students Office here at Flinders University. And with me today, I have Giselle Basson, who's the course coordinator for the Bachelor of Arts and the Arts High Achievers. So first of all, I will just let you know that there's no need for you to have your microphones on today at all. But if you do have any questions, please feel free to type them into the chat box there. It does mention that Kirsty is online to chat, but I'm actually Kirsty today. Kirsty was unwell, so I'm filling in for her, but it does have her login. So please feel free to type any questions you have into that chat space. And while you're here, just so we can perhaps tailor this a little bit to what you're looking for, could you please, in that chat space, we encourage you to perhaps write what you're interested in, if it's the Bachelor of Arts or the Bachelor of Arts High Achievers. Either way, we'll be covering both today as this will be recorded, and you can look back at this at a later time as well. But in the meantime, I might actually hand it straight over to Giselle, and she can talk you through all things Bachelor of Arts.
Okay, hi there. It's really good of you to join us here at Flinders University, the best university in South Australia, if not Australia. And I've worked at a few, so I'm a bit biased because, well, they pay me now, but it is a very good university, and I hope you are thinking very seriously about coming here. The Bachelor of Arts and the Bachelor of Arts for High Achievers are easily two of the best topics at the best university in South Australia. And it sounds like I'm fibbing, but I'm just so not. The Bachelor of Arts is the oldest degree in the world, but it is, much to the surprise of many people, the one that in so many ways has so many contemporary uses and contemporary relevance. So I like to say that it's the oldest degree, but it is the future of work. It's a great thing to study for itself, but it's a degree that can take you to so many places and career pathways and parts of the world. So it's a very good choice if you're thinking about going there. So I'll take you through some slides, and of course, if you've got questions as we go, by all means, shoot them along. So here are some highlights about the degree in particular. It's one that you can design all of your topic choices around your passions, and your passions might be things that you have studied in the past or perhaps are studying now, things that you must love doing like history or English. English is a particular favourite of mine. Sociology, philosophy, and I'll talk about some of those in more detail in a minute, but there's a range of things that will appeal to your passions in the humanities and the arts. It's the kind of degree that you can develop transferable skills. They're the ones that you will have to do, the skills that you will be doing every day or every week as a student, and learning how to think at a really fancy level with us. They are the kinds of skills that you will take again into those many different pathways and journeys that you'll take beyond your study. And they're transferable in the sense that they're the core skills that will always be relevant because you will be learning how to learn. And so it won't be finite knowledge that you get, it will be learning how to learn, and that is a lifelong experience and skill. So you can learn to investigate and analyse ideas, as it says on the slide there, to communicate your findings and build your knowledge base in a variety of areas. And we also have an increasing focus on real-world experience. So applying your study to work integrated learning, to work placements, to doing professional internships, to going out there and finding out exactly how do employers want people who have a Bachelor of Arts or a Bachelor of Arts enhanced program for high achievers degree. The employers are out there, they do want you, and I'll talk about that in more detail too. So the types of topics or areas that you can study here at Flinders are these. You can see in the top row with the blue squares that we have applied linguistics, archaeology, Indigenous and Australian studies. That's particularly, they're all very good here, but Indigenous and Australian studies is one of our major strengths. Creative writing, good fun. Criminology, drama, English, French, geography, history, Indonesian, and so on. As you can see, there are a number of the languages that we teach are Italian, French, Spanish, and modern Greek. And the social sciences topics tend to be things like sociology, politics. What else do we have? Psychology. Many people think they have to do a psychology degree to get into psychology, but no, you can do it as a major. That means as your main subject area within a Bachelor of Arts. So it's a really, really good compromise for a lot of students who think, I want to do psych, but I also want to do some of my other passions. To give you an example, I have students who do some creative writing as their major area, which is the most stuff that you do. And for their minor, which is the other main amount of stuff that you do, they might do something like creative writing. So one student in particular, Sophie, she's really interested in doing psych and creative writing because she wants to one day work with people who have, excuse me, things like trauma and mental health issues. And creative writing and creative expression are a way of working through those processes and working through ways of getting well. And it's a growing area, and it's one that she just sees as a perfect pairing for her because in her spare time she's also a creative writer and likes to write quite a lot. And she's a creative thinker, so the psych and the creative writing together just work beautifully. And that's the kind of combination you can do at Flinders with a Bachelor of Arts. It's the wedding together of sometimes quite, it seems like they're unrelated areas, but they can just snap together and point to futures and careers in ways that might be a surprise, but they're always exciting. So we've got the languages, the psychology, there's visual arts, such as fashion and dance, and some other, and visual arts is quite a few offerings, and I encourage you to look at what they are online. Politics, perhaps you want to be a politician. Perhaps I shouldn't say any more about that, but more importantly, you want to be one of those people perhaps who works in the public sector and keeps the country running really, really well. That industry, like any industry, needs creative thinkers. They are Bachelor of Arts graduates. So law and society, for people who don't want to do an entire law degree, but they want to dabble with some legal stuff, you can do that in the BA. Geography and the environment, criminology. Interesting to see criminology next to creative writing, because here's another true story of a student that we have. He is doing criminology and creative writing because he wants to write what kind of novel? What a surprise. Crime novels. But he has to understand the processes of the law and aspects of the criminal mind in order to really enhance that. So, that's an exciting thing that he's dreamt, a combination that he dreamt up by himself. You can do drama, you can do international relations, and you can do screen and media. And I think I'm more or less on history, and women's studies. So quite a set of topic areas there. And within all of those squares, there are a number of topics that they all offer. And that kind of detail is something that you work out after you decide that, okay, I want to do, say, French, and I want to do international relations. So I'll look into what kinds of international relations topics there are, and that all comes a bit later. At the moment, you're just thinking about, does Flinders have something in one of these squares or two things here that are really leaping out and speaking to me? I'm thinking probably yes. Let's move on. Now the BA, apart from being the best degree and the oldest degree in the world, is, you would think that was special enough. But at Flinders we decided to take it just one notch further, and we've developed the Bachelor of Arts enhanced program for high achievers for people who are perhaps performing particularly well in their schooling. They might be shaping up to have an ATAR that's really glossy, really quite good. And what often happens is you get your glossy ATAR, and I know this from experience, your family might say, look, you've got a really good score, so you should do law, which is a great degree. So you think, yeah, all right, I should do law. Or they might say, have you thought about using that really high entry score to do engineering? You think, no, another good degree, but don't want to do that. Anyway, there's a lot of encouragement to thinking that the BA doesn't get you anywhere. So if you're a high achiever, it would be something that's wasted on you. We would say absolutely not. This is an award that gets you to do 3 things in particular. Most of all, you get to join a smaller cohort than the BA proper, which might have hundreds of people in it. You join a smaller cohort which aids you in getting to know people more, and it gives you more opportunities to connect with other people studying the same degree as you. So there's that sense of group identity and mateship. It's amazing. This has been running for a few years now, and the BA high achievers I see have a marvellous life together. Most of it they don't tell me about, so I can only imagine what's going on out there. But they socialise together, they study together. Some of them have started going out together, which is rather sweet, and they just get together and like being the people who love to learn and learn that bit further about everything. They do a suite of topics together. There's 3 topics, and they're the ones that are listed on that slide for you. They start in first year in a topic on research across the BA, where they learn about what a BA is about. They learn about what it's like to be a university student who can perform at a high level. And it's a topic that holds their already quite accomplished hands through that process. Then in second year, they do something that is not often associated with the BA, and that is to get really, really work ready. So they go through second year finding out, okay, I know I love doing history, I know I love doing sociology, but where are the jobs? What are the jobs? Who will employ me one day? So that is a process, that topic gets through that process. And I completely wish that it had existed in the 12th century when I did my BA. Well, it wasn't the 12th century, it was the 14th. But I just really wish someone had had that conversation with me. And so I now have that conversation at great length with the BA High Achievers. And I'm supported by the really good career support mechanisms that Flinders has to help its graduates go and transition into the next phase of their lives after university. So the third topic is an advanced research topic, because a lot of the BA High Achiever students know that they want to go on to further study, that the BA was perfect, but they want to do even more. They want to travel, and in fact they use the Work Ready BA slot to do overseas exchanges. I have them doing the Washington internship, where they go to Washington for a few weeks and get to work with someone associated with Congress. How good. They can do the parliamentary internship here in South Australia, where they, especially if they're studying politics and history and international relations, they get attached to someone in Parliament here and they learn something about how the state is run or local councils are run. And they're the kind of, high knowledge people that the public sector really, really needs to keep this country running well. So they move around, they travel, they go into actual workplaces, they get hands-on experience in the real world scenario, and at the same time they keep coming back to Flinders, joining up together and doing advanced learning skills. So the 3 topics are most important because they maintain those guys as a group. And I've got some of them having their final third year conference next week where they have to present to each other, and they dress up and they're a bit nervous about it, but it'll be so exciting to see the culmination of their learning from the last 3 years. You can do the Bachelor of Arts by itself, or the Bachelor of Arts for High Achievers by itself, or you can combine it. with the following things, the following degrees that you can see listed on this slide. Things such as the Bachelor of Laws and Legal Practice. That's a popular, really traditional pairing, BA Law, BA Law. In fact, a lot of the people I studied with back in the day, they did a BA Law, and it's interesting how many of them pursued the BA part in their lives as opposed to the law part. I mean, the law part's great, but the BA is, the BA law part paid some of their bills, but the BA part lit the fire, as it were. It did the stuff. Can I name drop? I was at university with a guy who's on television called Sean McAuliffe, and he did law, but he was also studying some French and a bit of drama and stuff. And he obviously isn't a practicing lawyer anymore, is he? I rest my case. I remember him. He was funny back then. So the other combined degree is the Bachelor of Behavioural Sciences, which is psychology. So, you'll do, in that combined degree, you do more psych than you do BA. But that's for the very good reason that, psychology is a publicly accredited award, so you have to do a certain amount of it to become qualified in psych. So it's a good combined degree to do. Remember the psychology and the creative writing? So you can do psych as a major in the BA, or you can do it as a combined degree, which means you do a lot more of it alongside of the BA. I'm trying not to lose my voice. Bachelor of Business, that goes without saying. Again, creative intelligence, business, the world of banking has come to understand that some of the best people in the banking sector are the ones who have the creative imagination to see the bigger picture. They're the people who have studied not just the books about where you put the figures and all the money. They are the ones who know something about history and what can go wrong when people repeat the mistakes of the past. Never underestimate a broader lateral set of thinking skills to break through any of the questions that business or the public world has. Bachelor of Commerce, Accounting, Finance, very similar to what I've just been saying. A Bachelor of International Relations and a Bachelor of Arts, really nice. I've had a student who qualified two, actually, in recent times. One who studied Indonesian here at Flinders, so she did a language, and she studied international relations. Now, there are many, many people who speak really good Indonesian, from Indonesia, who can do that. But Ashley, being an Australian-born girl, she just knew that she could bring something new to the table, something slightly different from an Australian perspective, and she really wanted to look at ways of building a relationship between Indonesia and Australia because we are on each other's doorstep. The other person was studying French because she knew she wanted to go and study or work in the world of development and aid and community projects, poverty projects of that kind. And she knew that she needed French because in Africa, the diplomatic language is French as well as English. So she's combined the two and she's gone off to do that, which is really, really exciting. Tourism and arts makes perfect sense. Tourism isn't about how to book the ship and make sure your room's available at the hotel. It's much more complicated than that. So it's someone who can guide people around the world who has a real understanding of aspects of cultural history, social history, and so forth. Is the future of tourism. People are becoming what we call smart travellers. It's a bit different from just going and staring at the Eiffel Tower these days, even though that can be quite fun. A big one, a BA and a BEd. Really good idea. We hear a lot about STEM in education, science, technology, engineering and maths. I have to stop and think there for a minute. But increasingly we're going to hear more and more about STEAM, which is science, technology, engineering, arts, mathematics, and so on. So it's all very much in the national curriculum. So if you're thinking about doing some teaching, the areas of English and history, geography, languages and so on are still very much in the school system. And so you can study them as part of the BA and go out and become a teacher in about the same time. So it's a really nice double degree. You do equal amounts of education and arts in that double degree. I keep talking about jobs. Here is some data from the 2022 Skills Outlook paper from the World Economic Forum, and this has only just come out, and it was quite exciting for people like me because it offers actual evidence that I'm not talking total nonsense, that Bachelor of Arts students do have places to go in the future workplace. A workplace that's taking different shapes and forms all the time, that needs people to be flexible and able to do the kinds of jobs, many of which haven't even been invented yet, but we just know that they're coming, weirdly. We don't know what they are, but we know that they're coming. What do I mean? If you look at those skills, the growing skills are on the left and the declining skills are on the right. We're very much seeing the rise of artificial intelligence and things of that kind at the core of any of the jobs that our graduates are going to be going into in the next 10, 20 years will be things like critical thinking skills and analysis skills, emotional intelligence. It's something, again, I think, like, you know how all people think they're really good drivers and they're not? A lot of people think they have emotional intelligence, but we don't necessarily. Like all things, it's something you can learn more about. You can learn reasoning and problem solving, and you can find out about analytical thinking and innovation. And creativity is a word, I've used it already today, but creativity is at the core of the BA, and it's just so much at the heart of the entire employability narrative that is doing the world rounds at the moment. So look at this following list, that's the growing list again, profiled, and if you think about the BA, these are the types of majors and major areas of study that you can do that absolutely tap into 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I think so 8 of those. Most of them, in fact, 8 out of 10. So English, law and society, psych, psychology, history, languages, etc., etc. Archaeology. You can do an archaeology degree at Flinders, one of the best places in Australia to do archaeology. You might not want to do your whole degree in it. So again, do it in the BA, just do it as a major area. I think that's super exciting, the fact that people with a Bachelor of Arts or a Bachelor of Arts for High Achievers will not only just get to study what they love and love what they study, but the very thought that someone might, in fact will surely, pay them one day to pursue those passions in a professional context. Here's someone from history. This is Napoleon. Now, I don't know if you've studied any of the French wars, the Napoleonic Wars of the 19th century, but he did a pretty good job of winning lots of battles, but then he lost some really important ones. And I'm just using this picture here to give you a sense of why a BA is such a good idea. First of all, Napoleon, I learned about this particular scenario because I learned about it in my Bachelor of Arts. And my lecturer told me about how, when I was studying Napoleon, he said, you know, Napoleon was really good at battles and strategy, and he would win things all the time. He ruled Europe at one stage. But as he got more and more successful, he lost sight of what he was doing. And one of his habits was to have all the maps of his battleground on the floor of his tent. This is the Battle of Waterloo, which is, you know, that battle named after the Amazon. And that was a joke. Nikki's laughing. And he is drawn by one of his generals, and you can see that Napoleon's right down close on the floor, looking at all the movements, the troop movements and manoeuvres and everything. And it was pointed out that he started to lose perspective and he started to lose battles because all he needed to do was stand up and stand back and look at the bigger picture in order to see where things were going wrong. He was too close to the detail to see what was going on. And that is a really clear analogy to what happened with the financial crisis of 2008, I've read so much about how the bankers were accused of being too close to the books. They would look too closely at the numbers, but they didn't understand the big picture of what was happening in the financial world. And banks, as a result, have said we're going to start hiring people with arts and humanities degrees because they at least understand the picture of what's happening. They know how to pull together the threads of what's happening, culturally, socially, and so on. So I learned about Napoleon through a BA. Napoleon is my model for why he should have done a Bachelor of Arts, because he would have not ended up in prison at the end of his life because he lost so many battles. So it's probably a strangled analogy, but I like it and I'm going to stick to it. Look, I'll open it up now. Have we got any questions at all? Because I've done a lot of talking and I know there are things that you might be curious about, and I would be more than happy to answer them. And there are no dumb questions, by the way. None at all.
Perhaps while they're thinking about it, we might move on to the application side of things.
Yes.
So for those of you that have tuned in, you may already have submitted a SATAC application. And if that's the case, most of this you don't need to worry about too much just yet. However, the minimum entry score for the Bachelor of Arts is sitting at around 60. However, if you receive a school ATAR above 70, you actually have guaranteed entry into this degree. I should mention though that your ATAR is certainly not the only pathway into this degree. We actually have lots of different pathways into university, and perhaps if you're not receiving an ATAR for whatever reason, make sure you come and have a chat to us or give us a call and we can talk you through your pathway options as well. So this degree, if you complete it at a full-time study load, does take 3 years. So a full-time study load is 4 topics a semester and there's 2 semesters in the year. If you complete it at a part-time study load, then it will obviously increase the duration of the time that you're studying. To apply for the Bachelor of Arts, the enhanced program for high achievers, this one does become a little bit more competitive. So this one you're looking at a minimum selection rank of around the 90 mark. Well, that was last year. That may drop down again a little bit this year, but if that's what you want to do, even if you don't think you'll get the score to get into this degree, please list it as your first preference on your SATAC application because you never know what that minimum selection rank might do. However, the guaranteed entry selection rank, that sits at 90 as well, which can be a little bit confusing. If you receive a score over 90, you'll have guaranteed entry into this degree. The reason they're the same this year is it just meant that perhaps no one with an ATAR below 90 actually applied for this degree last year. It may fluctuate a little bit depending on the places available. So again, even if you don't think you'll get a score of 90, please leave it as your first preference on your SATAC application, but then just make sure that you have the straight Bachelor of Arts listed somewhere underneath in your preferences. This one again is 3 years, and it can be done also at a part-time study load if you wish. Did you want to speak briefly about the HAS support team and student?
Okay, we have a really, really good, tight team who offer advice on all the things to do with your enrolment. They are particularly keyed into the Bachelor of Arts, and it's very much on their radar because I think it's just their favourite degree, but don't tell other people in the college that I told you that. So there's me, the course coordinator. There are all the people who teach you the topics in archaeology and history and English and so on. They're your topic coordinators, and they're on hand to help you with any aspect of any of those topics all the time. There are enrolment and course advisors who can advise at university level, but mainly the people who it's the people who are in the College of Humanities, Arts and Social Sciences, who are known as the course advisors. They are the ones who will take you by the hand, sit you down either on a screen or in person, and they walk you through the template of how to enroll in the right combination of topics for you. Because it can be really daunting when you see there's so much on offer. You think, what do I do? What's the best combination? What will work for me? And they will sort that out for you. And there's no end of the combinations of things that you can do. It's just a matter of, again, finding the right fit for you. So they're the really key people for the study side of your life. But at Flinders, there's also the Student Learning Centre that can help boost aspects of your. They offer courses and advice on writing at university level, of just negotiating and navigating your way around the assessment that you have to do at uni, which might feel a bit different to what you did at school whenever. There are places like the Learning Lounge and Studiosity and 24/7, and these are just buzzy titles for places that, again, just make sure that you succeed. And when you are feeling lost, which you will, because everybody does, they can just take and say, hey, look, it's all right. This is what you have to do to get through writing this assignment or that assignment or whatever. There is Flinders Connect that helps you with all of the stuff to do with how do I pay for my topics, am I enrolled at all. So it says under Flinders Connect support with enrolment, they'll help you with that. But it's the people up in HAS support who will make your BA tickety-boo and run smoothly. And of course, health, counselling and disability. Don't think that if you're here with any of those areas that need some form of addressing, that you'll be left on your own. It's increasingly an aspect of university life that we're seeing, and it's being taken up in huge numbers as people think, look, I might not be well enough in whatever way to go forward with everything at the fast pace that I might think I have to, and we'll say, no, hey, that's fine. We want you to stay well and study here. So there's a lot of support at many levels,
Absolutely, and it's a bit of a misconception out there that once you perhaps leave school and you come to university that you're on your own. And I guess we're trying to let you know that that is absolutely not the case. Yes, you are treated as an adult and there is a lot of independence required, but there is lots of support out there. It's just about you seeking that support and reaching out and seeking those support systems. So we still don't have any questions coming through, so just one last chance to type in any questions before we finish off. And while I'm sure you're thinking of those questions, just to let you know that if you haven't yet applied for this degree, even though it says the application closing date is the 30th of September, that was the soft close, you can still apply, and you can do so right up until Monday, 2nd of December. It just means that there is now a little bit of a late fee on your SATAC application. To apply for this degree or any university degree in South Australia, you will need to submit a SATAC application. And for the Bachelor of Arts and the Bachelor of Arts Enhanced Program for High Achievers, that is a undergraduate application. That means you haven't completed a degree before. The main round of offers will be on Friday the 20th of December this year. If you don't receive an offer on that date, please give us a call and we can let you know perhaps why, and then perhaps discuss your pathway options, or it might be something as simple like you forgot to pay your application fee. So make sure you stay in touch with us. We can be reached on 1300 354 633 and you press option 1 to come through to the prospective students team, and we'll be able to talk you through all of the things to do with SATAC or the Bachelor of Arts. However, if you have any specific questions about the Bachelor of Arts, I will be more than happy to handle you off to Giselle and she'll be able to answer any of those questions for you. I will take this opportunity now also to let you know that we do have more webinars coming up in a variety of different areas. If you are thinking of perhaps combining the Bachelor of Arts with the Bachelor of Science, which you can do, next week we actually have a Bachelor of Science presentation happening on Tuesday, which you can sign up for.
That's such a good degree, that one.
Yeah.
I mean, the idea that they're ever separated is in some ways a fairly new idea. Science and arts are hand in hand, always have been.
Yeah, absolutely. So that's where you do a bachelor. It's called the Bachelor of Arts and Science. You choose a major from arts and a major from the science side of things. So if you're interested in that, make sure you sign up and tune in for that webinar next Tuesday. But it looks like we still haven't got any questions, so it means you've answered all of their questions for them by the sounds of it.
Well, yes. And one thing, can I say one last thing?
Of course.
I mean, I've talked a lot about what students do with the Bachelor of Arts, they combine it with this or they do that combination of topics or whatever. A lot of people just go into the Bachelor of Arts because they really don't have much of an idea of what they want to do. And so they might just be dipping their toe in to university, and it's also a very, very good degree for that. It can set you off on pathways to other things. So it's a place to get in, to do some thinking, to work on some topics that might be familiar from schooling, so you're not thrown into a whole new area, and you can just get a feel for university. And a lot of people come and find that they like it, so use it for that. And it's just there. You can do it just because you want to do some learning. Don't have to run out and get a job.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, thank you very much for joining us tonight, Giselle.
You're welcome.
We really appreciate it. And for those of you that are perhaps in Year 12, good luck with the rest of Year 12. You've got a few more weeks. You're almost there.
It gets easier.
It gets easier.
Just get that out of the way.
And hopefully we will see you all on campus next week. Not next week, next year.
Yeah.
Have a great weekend, guys. See you later.
Bye.